Hey there YouTube, thank you so much for joining me today on Nathan Fry Outdoors. If you're new here, I try to post outdoor related content every Saturday at noon is when the video posts. And it can range from everything from tips and tricks for outdoors, sometimes product reviews. It can range from hunting to camping. If it has to do with the outdoors, you might see it here. If you've been following my channel, then you know that a few months ago I picked up this Diamond Infinite Edge Pro bow for my wife to shoot. I posted several videos about it, but today is the day for the actual review. I posted a few little bits and pieces here, but today I want to give you my thoughts on what I think of this bow. And the first question that I wanted to answer when I set out to do a review is, does this bow do what it's advertised to do? And you may ask, what's it advertised to do? Well, it's really advertised as almost like a one-size-fits-all bow. I wrote down the numbers here so I wouldn't forget. This bow can go in a draw length from 13 inches all the way to 31 inches. That is a massive amount of draw length adjustability. When you consider that some bows do not even give you the ability to adjust the draw length at all without buying a new cam or changing out modules. Some bows give you user adjustable draw length, but it's usually only about 5 inches. And this bow gives you 18 inches of draw length adjustment, all easy to do from home, easy to do on your own. The draw weight, and this is mind-blowing as well, most bows that we hunt with are about 10 pounds of adjustability, from 60 to 70 or from 50 to 60, somewhere in that range. This bow is adjustable from 5 pounds all the way up to 70 pounds. So the question is this a one-size-fits-all bow? Can anybody really shoot it? In order for me to answer the question, is this a one-size-fits-all bow, I had to have multiple people shoot it. I started with my nephew, who was 8 at the time of the recording and has now turned 9. He's a pretty small little guy even for 8 or 9 years old. And let's take a look at what happened when he tried to shoot this bow. You ready? Pull it all, finger behind the trigger. There you go. Uh-oh, put it. Whoa! All right. Give me a high five. Great job. Woohoo! Heart shot. Well, lung shot. Oh, almost. It took a little bit of a while for Paul to get a hang of it, but these were his last 3 shots. 2 right there, and 1 just a little bit below the target, right, where is it? Right here. So, pretty good shooting from Paul at 8 years old, right? Yeah. Nice. Oh, right. Look at that smile. So Paul, we just recorded that last one, and you hit 2 out of 3, and then we convinced you to shoot 3 more, and you hit all 3. How's that feel?
Fun.
Was that a good ending?
Yes.
Yeah, all right, you did great. Sweet. What do you think? Should we try to set it up for your dad? See if he can hit him?
Yes.
I think so too. Guys, there's several things I want to point out about these different people who are shooting this bow. Because I had this bow set up exactly the way I wanted it for my wife, there were several things that I did not change for each shooter. And that would be the sights and the peep sight. If you don't know, depending on how you hold the bow, depending on where you anchor, that peep sight may need to move up or down to really fit you comfortably. Of course, with a small shooter like an 8 or 9-year-old boy, that peep sight probably needed to come down significantly for him to see through it. But I didn't want to have to redo everything for my wife when it was already set up just the way she liked it. I also wanted to point out that this was Paul's first time ever shooting a compound bow to my knowledge. And so there was a lot of work that you'll see that he needs with form. There's things that I was trying to work with him, but there's if you've shot archery before, you know that there's a lot of things to think about. And so I was so proud of him for working and working until he was able to get all 3 shots on target there at the end. One thing that I wanted to point out about this bow is with Paul, he was down to about an 18-inch draw length, I believe, and he was nowhere near the minimum draw weight. But the biggest problem Paul had was not with pulling back the draw weight of the bow, but actually holding the weight of the bow in his left hand. After Paul got done shooting, we decided to let his dad shoot it. His dad has shot archery before, but not in a while. He's a little bit smaller framed than myself, kind of a smaller framed guy. We turned the bow up to 26 inches draw length, I believe, for him, and probably had the weight set somewhere in the neighborhood of 50 pounds. Let's see how Jason did with the bow. So this is Jason's first 3 arrows with the Diamond Infinite Edge Pro. Never shot it before. Well guys, I recorded Jason's thoughts after he shot it and somehow the microphone wasn't turned on, so I missed that. But Jason was really impressed with the bow. In fact, he left talking about maybe trying to find one for himself. Jason certainly enjoyed shooting the Diamond Infinite Edge Pro. Of course, you guys already know that I bought this bow for my wife, so I'll throw a few shots in here of her shooting it as well. And she's really been enjoying shooting this bow over the last couple of months. But recently I decided, all right, if I'm really going to see if this is a one-size-fits-all bow, we haven't tested it out at a longer draw length and at a full 70 pounds. So I took it out, put it up to 28-inch draw length, which is my draw length, and cranked those limb bolts all the way down to 70 pounds, and let's see what happens. All right, so this is at 30 yards. These two shots are maybe about 2-3 inches apart. And one thing that I've been noticing is that since this bow is not perfectly set up for me, I am shooting a little bit to the left pretty consistently. Let's move back a little bit farther, see what we can do from 40 and almost 50 yards. Okay, so I just shot from 50 yards, and there was definitely some user error on my part, but I still ended up with 2 arrows, again to the left, and probably 4 or 5 inches apart. Guys, once again, I wanted to point out that with the peep sight not being exactly in alignment to me, I wasn't feeling real steady and real secure. I feel like if I set this bow really up where everything fit me perfectly, I think I could certainly tighten up those groups. If I practice with this bow, I could tighten up those groups. But honestly, I was surprised that I could shoot this bow, that's an entry-level beginner bow, out to 50 yards and even do as well as I did. Now let me go through some of the things that I like and don't like about this bow, and I'll wrap it up with a final conclusion. Let me start off with a few things that I don't like, and then I'll get into what I really do like about the bow. The first thing that I don't like is the sights. The sights that are on here right now, I've actually just changed out. All of the shooting done in this review was done with the sights that come with the bow from the factory. I've just recently changed these out to something different, and the reason is the sights that come with the bow, frankly, are very cheap. They're very fiddly to adjust and to sight it in. I'm not impressed with those. However, if you're just getting started out, this is your first bow, you want something to try out, you're not totally sure if you're going to like archery or not, the sights will absolutely work for you. Don't feel like you've got to run out and replace them immediately. The second thing I don't particularly care for about this bow is the peep sight. Again, this is something that I did change out almost immediately. The peep sight on the other one had like these little fiber optic things that go around the hole. It was just weird. I've never seen a setup quite like that before. And it might have worked for some people, but in this case it was used and the little fiber optic dots were falling out and it was just giving a really blurry image. So for just a few dollars we put in a new peep sight. But I would say those are the two main issues that I have with this bow, is that the sights are cheap and the peep sight had some issues. Other than that, the hostage containment rest here is similar to a Whisker Biscuit. I really like it. I think it does a very nice job. The stabilizer is nothing fancy, but it certainly does a nice job. As I mentioned in another video, we made this custom paracord yoke. Now that wristling here, that's something that's not necessarily going to come with your bow. I think if you get it from a retailer, it may come with ace wristling, but not one like this. This was something we did custom. Now let me tell you some things that I really do like about this bow. As I mentioned, I like the rest, but my favorite feature of this bow is how adjustable it is and how easy it is to work on it without a bow press. Many of the bows that you get and you're going to want to work on, especially higher end hunting bows and stuff, the limbs are going to be pre-loaded. What that means is the only way to get the strings off or to do anything like that is to put them in a bow press, remove the strings, and then slowly relax the limbs in your bow press. The way this particular bow is set up, these limb bolts right here are so long that you can actually screw them out all the way until there is no tension on these strings at all. What that means is if you need to put in a new peep sight, all you need to do is loosen up both of those limb bolts until the strings go slack. You can take it off. You need to change out your strings or your cables, loosen up the bolts, take it off. If you need to change the draw length, there are some little modules right here. And if you want to go to a really short draw length, you actually need to change this string position on both cams from A to B, or you go from A around B and back to A, and that's for position C. There's a chart on Diamond's website that shows you exactly what position it needs to be in for different draw lengths. Normally though, without a bow press, you would not be able to move that string without a bow press. On this bow, all you need to do is loosen up the limb bolts here, loosen your string, and put it back on where it needs to go. If you need to do some tuning to your bow, like you want to put a twist in the yoke, maybe you're a little bit out of sync or something like that, and you need to put a twist in your string or your yoke or somewhere like that, you need to do some tuning to your bow, you do have to take these limb bolts loose, and then you can do that. I will say it's a bit of a pain, especially for tuning purposes, because if you have to maybe do it and then tighten everything back up to see if it's right, and then maybe you have to make another adjustment, you have to keep loosening and tightening these limb bolts. And so from that perspective, I will tell you, it would be much easier if you have a bow press. But if you're trying to save yourself some money, you're trying to learn how to do some tuning at home and you don't have a bow press, this is a fantastic setup to learn that. I've never owned a bow personally that I was able to tune on my own because I don't have a bow press. This bow, I've been able to do that, and it is amazing. All right, let me give you my final thoughts on the bow, and let me answer, is this a one-size-fits-all bow? And who is the bow for, and who is it not for? Well, first of all, I would say it comes very close to being a one-size-fits-all bow. I think the biggest limitations you're going to find are young shooters who are not able to hold the weight of the bow in their left hand. I failed to mention this. In my current setup, the bow weighs just over 4 pounds. It's fairly light. I really like that. However, really young shooters are probably going to have a hard time holding that weight out at arm's length. That's going to be the biggest limitation. But within those limitations, this is very close to being a one-size-fits-all bow. I would say if you're a young shooter just getting started, especially in the neighborhood of maybe 8, 12, 13 years old, I would say this is a fantastic bow for you to get and to start with. It's going to grow with you. You can watch some YouTube videos, learn how to adjust it on your own. You're going to be able to grow all the way through, all the way up as far as you pretty much want to go. It's going to be able to grow with you. If later on in life you decide you want a bigger, better, faster bow, whatever the case may be, you can do that. But at least if you're growing, you're not having to buy a new bow every year as you grow. I would say if you're somebody who's been out of archery for a while and you're looking for a cheap way to get in, or if you're new to archery and you're looking for a cheap way to get in, this is a great option. The Ready to Hunt package, brand new, is about $350. And if you watch in some different places like Craigslist or online in some different places where you can find used archery equipment, it's not uncommon to see this bow for around $200. So it is a great budget-friendly option if you're wanting to get into archery, or maybe you've been out for a while and you want to get back into archery. If you already have a fancy bow, and you're looking for the next new bow, this bow is probably not for you, but maybe you're looking for a backup bow. This would make a great backup bow. It would make a great bow for somebody who likes to teach other people and get other people into archery, because in just 5 to 10 minutes without a bow press, you can set this bow up to fit just about anybody. So overall, I'm very impressed with this bow. I enjoyed shooting it myself. The bottom line is I wouldn't trade it out for my hunting bow that I currently shoot, but I'm glad that I have it around as a great backup bow. My wife's really been enjoying shooting, and I've enjoyed introducing some other people to the sport of archery as well. I hope you enjoyed this review. If you have, please give me a thumbs up. If you're interested in more content like this, I hope that you would consider hitting that subscribe button down below. And until next time, remember to get off YouTube and get outdoors.